Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a review for Season 1 of Scream, or Scream the TV series as it's now been called. This is the only season out of the 3 on a show that ran from 2015 to 2019 that you can even get in physical media. Everything else you have to either watch on Netflix or rent it from Amazon Prime or buy it through Amazon Prime. But this came out again in 2015, the first season did. It's about 10 episodes long, and I remember back in the day when it premiered on MTV. Yes, MTV made this, around the time that Arrow and, all of these CW shows were getting so popular. They made this, and I remember hearing people talk about this, just like they would talk about a Friday the 13th possible show, which apparently that's happening now, called Crystal Lake or something. Not looking forward to that one. And you have other slasher shows out there, like Chucky, and both of these shows, Scream and Chucky, should never have been as good as they were. It's kind of surprising. Personally, I love this show, and with my history of the movies, I am a massive fan of the original film. Oh, I almost dropped all my DVDs. Massive fan of the original film. Really think it's an absolute iconic movie, truly genius, truly well made. Of course, the series created by Wes Craven, who is also an executive producer on this TV show. So anybody who complains about this show and says it doesn't feel like something Wes Craven made, he worked on the first 2 seasons of the show, or at least the first one, for sure. So get over it. Kevin Williamson did as well, just so you know. Scream 2, not a fan. Scream 3, I like more than Scream 2, but it's really not that good. Scream 4 is really average. Just fine average. Really not as good as the first one, but I'm glad they went back to the hometown, Woodsboro. And then last year, I watched through and reviewed all of these films because Scream 5 came out last January, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed this. It's not the greatest thing ever. The motivations for killing in this film are stupid. But everything else is really good. It looks good, probably the best looking Scream film of all time. A lot of good stuff in this film, including the Carpenter sisters, with Jenna Ortega playing one of them. But back in the day when this first premiered in 2015, I watched it, probably the first 8 out of the 10 episodes, and I don't think I ever caught the last 2. And eventually I sat down about 5, 6, 7 years ago, somewhere in there. Well, probably closer to 5 years ago. I sat down and saw that this was listed on On Demand or something, I don't know. But I watched the final 2 episodes, remembering everything that happened, because I loved, and still love, this show after watching it for like the 3rd or 4th time now. And I will tell you, it's great. I loved it then, I love it now. I think that it's very clever, very smart. It feels like if you were ever able to take a movie, like the first Scream ever from 1996, and be able to take that and turn it into a TV show that really feels like a modern-day version, without being insulting, without deliberately trying to piss people off, without being political, anything like that. This is before the rise of those times in 2016. And it's incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive. This is a really great show. Let me get to the actual story, though. Again, 10 episodes long. Basically, the show itself, having Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson was a very smart move on having them involved. Even Ty West directed an episode, by the way. Very smart show. I really believe that. It's the kind of thing where I don't think anyone ever could guess who the killer is by the end of this show, or all of the motivations of this show. I don't think you could. I really don't. It has so much love for the horror genre, it has so much love for the slasher subgenre, it has so much love for Scream as a franchise, mainly the original film, kind of the others a little bit too, but mainly the original movie. It knows what it is, it knows that it's trying to do something more expansive, having 10 whole episodes to really develop characters, develop mystery, develop motives, to really take us through a cat and mouse game with this killer. And I have some things I want to talk about that a lot of you guys are either fans of or not fans of. Seems like a lot of the fan base of Scream, which I'm not really a part of. Again, I love the original film and I like the newest ones, but that's about it. Can't wait for Scream 6 this Friday. This show is like my second favorite thing ever from this series. Like, mainly the first and second season. I've never seen season 3 of the show. The first 2 seasons of this show are, to me, the second best thing to ever come out of the franchise, aside from the original movie. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. I think it looks good. It feels like Scream. It feels like good Scream, is what I really mean by that. So basically what the story is about, we start off the show with a particular mean girl, preppy chick named Nina who films another girl named Audrey kissing her best friend in a car privately and uploads it to the internet. And when Nina uploads it to the internet, everybody at their school finds out about it. It becomes a mass viral video that a lot of people go around school talking about and kind of ruins the one girl, Audrey's, life. And kind of Rachel's life, too, the other girl that she's kissing. And Audrey is played by the girl from Arrow. If you've seen Arrow, I think season 2, there's the one chick, there's the really short hair in that show. That's her in this show. And she's really good. I like her more here than I ever liked her in Arrow. She was always done wrong by CW, Hollywood, all of these different companies that she worked with, because she's actually good as an actress, but they kind of waste her. But anyway, when this happens, the same night that Nina puts it up on the internet, she is brutally murdered. The preppy girl is brutally murdered. And her boyfriend as well, that she just went on a date with. And all of that stuff is supposed to feel like the Drew Barrymore stuff, but of course you can relate to Drew Barrymore in the original film. Can't really relate to Nina. Nina is a piece of trash. And this whole setup is really well done. It kind of reminds me of Scream 2 with the Stab movie adaptation of Scream. That's pretty cool. I like all that. And of course, the murders start up in this town, but there's a lot more to it. It's not just your basic slasher thing. And frankly, you could probably take this and just remove Scream from the title, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They kept it as it was, and they made something really special, in my opinion. Every single kid, teen, whatever, in this show, I love them all. I think they're all really good. We mainly focus on a girl named Emma and her mom, who I don't remember the name. I remember her nickname, but I don't remember her name. I don't want to go into too many spoilers or anything. Of course, I'm not going to spoil this show for you because I want everybody to check it out. Again, it's on Netflix right now if you happen to have that. But we focus mainly on Emma, and a lot of this mystery with the murders and stuff, the killer, all of these things happen to be tied to her and her mom, maybe even her dad, who's not in the picture. There's a lot of really crazy stuff happening around Emma, and again, a lot of her friends are getting killed left and right, but it's not in a typical slasher manner of every person she knows getting murdered. It's not really like that. It's kind of, again, a cat and mouse type of game, where the killer wants Emma and everybody else in the friend group to suspect everybody else in the friend group. And there are new people that came to the town. For example, there's one guy named Kieran. That particular actor, really love him. And I love all the characters in the show. I have my favorites and I have my least favorites, but I like and love all of them, pretty much. Emma's best friend character, named Brooke, this chick can act. She's not only beautiful, but she's genuinely a great actress. I really love her. She's very cat-like in a weird way. Being a preppy, beautiful girl, you expect her to be shallow, you expect her to think she's just better than everybody. And to a small degree she does, but she's really not a snotty scumbag. She's probably my favorite character in the show, as well as another character who's kind of the Jamie Kennedy character named Noah, who knows all of these things about horror films. He's best friends with Audrey, the girl that may or may not be gay, that was filmed kissing her best friend by that killer, the chick that got killed. Noah and Brooke are like my favorite characters in the entire show. But I pretty much like everybody. I like the one jockey dude named Jake. I like the other jockey dude that dates Emma, our main character, named Will. I like all of them, pretty much. I think everybody's really good. I think all of the performances are good. The directing is good. The look of the show looks like Scream, as I said earlier, but it actually feels really well made. Like, Scream 2 feels cheap to me. It looks cheap to me. People say that about the original Scream. I don't think that's the case, but that's just me. Scream 3 looks and feels kind of cheap, you know? This show doesn't. It has that MTV Teen Wolf hit right before, a few years before this show. And that was good too, the first few seasons I watched of that. Not so much season 3, but, season 1 and 2, really good. I like that show. But MTV and CW were really popular around this time for their TV shows, and it's sad to me to see how Scream fans and a lot of fans of horror and slashers hated this show, because it really didn't deserve it. It has great gore, really great kills most of the time. The mystery aspect's fantastic. One of the biggest things that people hated, and I remember this deeply, was when they revealed to the public what Ghostface would look like in the show, because if you don't know, they didn't have the rights to use the Ghostface mask. They had to make something new. It couldn't look like a clean-cut, real good costume. It had to kind of look amateurish. And so they have this weird-looking face. Of course, this face right here, that's not really the best-looking look at it. On the back of the DVD, you actually have a better look of what Ghostface looks like. I love it. I'm going to tell you something very controversial in my opinion. I love this show, but I do think it could have been better with the original Ghostface just for the fans. I think people would have been a lot more accepting of it if it had been that. A lot of people don't care or know about the whole rights issue with the mask and costume thing, and trademark and all that. But I kind of like this costume more. I know, I know, please don't shoot me. I know, but I really love this costume. I think it fits this show so well. And of course, in season 3, when Queen Latifah had the rights, she was able to get the rights for, the original mask. And yeah, you heard me right. Season 3 was made, produced, everything, even owned by Queen Latifah. Yes, Queen Latifah. Can't stand her. But not that she's an awful person, I don't like her. I don't think she's a good actress or anything. I don't think she's as funny as people make her out to be either. But anyway, this is before Wes Craven died. This show. And I really love it. I love a lot about it. One of the things I forgot to mention is the lore in this story. This kind of goes back a little bit. It's kind of a big thing in the first episode that's really discussed throughout the entire season. It's not a big spoiler or anything like that. But there was a guy named Brandon James in this neighborhood where this show takes place. He was a deformed man. Very much, they describe him as the Elephant Man, like the David Lynch movie, what that's based on, that true story. He was deformed, he had a real messed up face and stuff. Apparently that Brandon James mask is what the Ghostface mask is designed to look like. He used to wear masks and stuff to kind of hide his monstrous look to himself. But a lot of this story is kind of focused around this urban legend of Brandon James, who, on Halloween night of 1994, 1 week before yours truly was born, 1 week before yours truly, myself, was born, he went on a massacre and killed a bunch of kids, kind of like in a slasher way, on Halloween night, and eventually was shot in the face by cops in front of a young girl that he had an absolute love and affection for. A lot of this show focuses on this urban legend from this show, and I love that. Finding out who the girl was that he was in love with, that's pretty cool. A lot of that is accomplished in the first episode, but a lot of this lore stuff, this Brandon James stuff, of not knowing whether he's the killer or somebody that was related to him or whoever it might be, is fascinating. They really, really landed it. I've said it over and over again, the biggest problem with the Scream movies, for me, the movies, not the show, the movies are that they keep trying to do the same movie that the original film was over and over and over again. They just can't land it, and that's what makes the original film special, because it was the best embodiment of that original idea in every single one of its sequels. To me, even 5, what I like, and 4 too, feel like just knockoffs of the original film. They feel like a poor man's imitation of the original Scream movie. This TV show tries to do something new. As a slasher show, as a slasher movie feel, with the characters and stuff being kind of modern, the kind of jokes and references and love they have for this genre, it's incredible. And again, the gore effects look great. Pretty much everything in here is practical. I think it's a budgetary reason, but when you have practical effects in here, they look really good. There's maybe one scene that's kind of goofy, using some CGI, but that's it. That's all I remember of any kind of CGI in the episode. Everything about the show is very well made. It's well written, in my opinion. The characters are very well written. I love it. I think the mystery is great. And again, I really don't think anybody could honestly say that they guessed who the killer was, or killers, or whatever you want to talk about when we talk about multiple seasons, or anything like that. There are so many ins and outs of this show. It's very clever. That's the word I want to use. It's a very clever, well-written, well-crafted show that I love deeply. Season 1, I think, is better than Season 2, but both are good. Really good, as a matter of fact. If you're a slasher fan, I recommend them both to you. But again, I haven't seen Season 3, so I can't really say anything about that. The music in the show, I really like a lot. I think it's really well done. It's kind of your typical MTV CW thing, but it fits this show so well, because Scream is kind of a pop culture joke, like making fun of it, a mockery of it sometimes. This show accomplishes that really well. I love the music in the show. When you have like a regular old song that they took from MTV and put it in the show, that's pretty great. I like all that stuff. The music made for the show, the score, I like that too, especially when an episode ends and you get this violin music. It's really good. Very beautiful, very poetic with the kind of nature of what we're getting with the show. If you haven't seen Scream the TV series, I really hope you will give it a chance, because it's really good. It's really, really good. I've always loved it. I've talked and preached about this thing for years now. It's been like 8 years since it came out, the first season at least. And I think it's a very, very, very underrated thing that people do not appreciate like they should. You should absolutely spend time watching this. It's really good. Even if you have an issue with the Ghostface mask and costume, I understand where you're coming from, but I really don't think it's fair to hate this because of that. The show itself, this is what Scream should be. And I really wish this was more successful. I wish it had a couple of seasons and that's it. Kind of does, but, you know, with the way the first 2 seasons really conclude their own story before Queen Latifah got the rights and made season 3, from what I understand, they never resolved the mystery that was set up in season 2 and this first season, which really pisses me off. But I want to review season 2 by the end of the week. I don't know if I'll have time to get it by the end of the week, but I'll try. Maybe on the weekend, I don't know. Probably going to be reviewing these into next week. So I probably won't get to have them done before I try to see Scream 6, but even so. Anyway, with the Scream TV series Season 1, have you seen it? Do you love it? I'd love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section down below. And if I had to rate the film on a 5-star, or the show, excuse me, on a 5-star basis, I think I'd easily give this a 5 out of 5. I love it. I genuinely love it. I really don't have many nitpicks about it, or any kind of real true negatives that I can't overlook. You know, I understand the complaints, like the costume thing, but really, to me, those aren't strong enough to really fail this and say it's not worth the time and effort to watch it. I think it's great. I think it's really, really great. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear what you all have to say down in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts about all of this. Let me know your thoughts about the Queen Latifah owning the rights thing once upon a time. That was some crazy shit, dude. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you all. 5 out of 5 stars from me. Goodbye.